This is the way. What up, everybody? This is Easy Paradox coming at you with another video here on the channel. We have ourselves a Ahsoka TV show. I just got done watching it not too long ago. This video should be coming out like the next day. But this is my initial thoughts and reaction. This is not a full breakdown of what happened in the final episode. This is my review of the entire series overall. It's not going to be too long, so it shouldn't be too in-depth because it wasn't a very long show. It was only 8 episodes. Each episode was roughly anywhere from like 30 to 40 minutes. Final episode was around like 40-ish. But I would say that the show was overall a really good show. Like the first episode really started out really well with Baylan and Sheen charging the New Republic's ship and getting the information they need and taking it down. But after that, it really slowed down to like a crawl from that point. I know there was a lot of fan service. There was really a lot of hype around that. I was super excited. I was a little fanboy because I really love Star Wars. But rewatching this show, I realized that the first episode kind of slowed down a lot. Like I know a lot of the reviews did talk about how it slowed down to a crawl almost, and you just felt like you were accomplishing a whole lot of nothing with so much time. Everything was taking so much time to do. And then it didn't really start picking up until around episode 4 was when they started having real like Jedi fights. Like I know the second episode, the part 2, Toll of Trouble, had a fight, but they did a lot of pan around, cutting to other things as when you learned about the shipyards and all, and then you found out that they were going to build a big space station. It added up a little more tension of what's happening, but I still feel like the first 3 episodes were very slow, and not every episode has to be a banger, but I feel like every episode should still feel a sense of urgency in my case, like where everything seems like it's needed at the most part. The first 3 episodes for me, after the first watch, I was really excited to watch the show, so every episode felt like really excitement. But after rewatch it, I felt like the first 3 episodes were very, very, very slow, like I said earlier. And then it was in episode 4 was when it really started to pick up, when Sabine started fighting. Then she got stabbed, and then that was a little weird. I didn't really feel like that episode was really could have been way better. And then episode 5 and 6, the episodes that Dave Filoni did were peak Star Wars. Like I think Dave Filoni should direct everything and not let anyone else direct anything, because I feel like all the other directions and directors are kind of like trying to follow Dave Filoni's footsteps and don't quite get that Dave Filoni charm. I know the last episode was really good as well. 7 was good. It was one of those much needed episodes where you just did a bunch of 2 great banger episodes, but now you need to bring them together. You bring all these characters together for the 7th episode, and then they'll all be together on the 8th. Because if you don't have 7, then you won't have 8. But 7 was a great in between. It wasn't too slow like the first 3 episodes, but it definitely felt like they were rushing a lot of pieces and put them together. And the final episode was really good. I would say that the final episode was just as good as episode 6, but wasn't as good as episode 5. And for those who don't know what each of those episodes are, episode 5 is when Ahsoka goes to their past, goes to these flashbacks with Anakin Skywalker, Hayden Christensen, in the Clone Wars, and she's in the World Between Worlds. This whole build-up of things. And then episode 6 is when they get to Thrawn. And then that episode was really good, where you meet Thrawn's menacing lifestyle, and then you find Ezra. Of course, there's Ezra at the end. But I feel like Thrawn stole the show for this season, for this series. Thrawn was probably the best character, and the close second was Baylan. Baylan for me was some of the best anti-hero I've ever seen. I call him an anti-hero because this whole show has shown that I feel like the villains are not villains almost. Like Thrawn has always been he's been with the Empire, but he wasn't like kill everybody or just like dude. He respected the life on each of these planets. I know he wasn't the greatest guy, but he still respected the life, and he sees the flaws in the Republic that others are trying to gloss over or forget exist. And then Balin doesn't care about either of those, and he seeks a greater good, as he says in the show, where he is looking for a greater power and a greater purpose, where he doesn't want to be involved with these trivial politics. And I feel like he's like an anti-hero in the case of like he's trying to save the galaxy in his own way where he thinks is right. And eventually we might find out that it's not. But we won't really know. They might recast. They're probably going to recast him just because they left his story on such a cliffhanger on the rock of the gods with the father next to the son, and then the missing statue of the daughter. And a lot of Star Wars channels have gone over the logistics of those portions of the story of like the Elder Gods, and they talk about Agatha or whatever the heck her name is, the bringer of death, and all these cool theories that are very fun. I know. I was watching a theory video the other day, and I was watching actually a theory video a couple of days ago where he talked about the lightsaber and why Ezra didn't grab the green lightsaber, and then in episode 8 they talk about he builds his own lightsaber from a new kyber crystal and it's blue, and I was like, oh, they had it mostly right where he felt like that lightsaber probably wasn't his, the kyber crystal or whatever was calling out to him, all that good Star Wars stuff. But overall, I would give this show, for all of its episodes, a solid 8 out of 10. For if you were to delete the first 3 episodes, not like necessarily delete them, but like were to change them, make them a little more fast paced, I would say 5, 6, 7, 8 were like 9, 10 out of 10 episodes. 7 was probably the 9. The other 3 were 10. Then 4 was 8. 1, 2, 3 were probably like 6, 7. If you were to give it a 10 ratio, I enjoyed them. They were unwatchable, but they were just super slow. Especially the first episode, a crawl. The second episode was a crawl, and it just like a little fetch quest. The third episode was a little better than the second one, but it still wasn't very good. And I'm really excited to see the direction of Star Wars overall, but Dave Filoni is not going to be directing everything. Dave Filoni isn't the Kevin Feige of Star Wars because he doesn't have that position. Like he doesn't have that power as Kevin Feige has, where Kevin Feige can dictate what the directors make and what the directors don't make. Where Dave Filoni just kind of has to roll with it, and he's given a certain section of the timeline and not a certain section of other timelines. So I'm very interested to see what they do with the new Rey movie, because I know a lot of people give Rey crap, but Rey, I feel like in the sequel trilogy, was just handled very imperfected. The actor, it's not the actor's fault the writing is bad. It's not the actor's fault that the editing, the story is bad. That is not the actor's fault. I think Rey did the best. I think the Rey actor, I can't remember what her name is, but she did the best she could with what she had. Like, I thought she was a pretty decent actor for what she was doing, especially, and I liked The Last Jedi just because it felt like a different kind of Star Wars. I know there's a lot of like I think it's like 50-50 on like if it was a good or bad, but I felt like it was very interesting. I thought it was very cool for trying to do something different, because everyone was saying everyone was saying the 7th one was the same, and I feel like the 7th one was the same, and it didn't feel like new Star Wars. It just felt like a rinse and repeat. And Last Jedi offered a little difference, but I just felt like the sequel trilogy just didn't have enough cohesive storytelling, a person telling all the directors, like, hey, this is what we're trying to accomplish. Can you make sure you fit in that mold? You have a lot of free will to do a couple other things, but it needs to follow a story or keep the same director for all 3 movies. Like, geez. Like Dave Filoni is in charge of the production of this show, most of the shows that he's trying to fit into his like own little mini universe within the overall Star Wars universe. And I'm very excited to see what Thrawn has to bring. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you like this kind of content where we talk about Star Wars, we talk about any other kind of content, I think I'm going to do a Loki video because I love Marvel. Marvel's my favorite. So if you want to follow for those kind of contents, I also do a little bit of everything. So there's like football content, there's gaming content. I do stream on this channel. I haven't streamed in a little bit, but I will start getting back into it. Probably stream some more PlayStation 2 games, and it should be fun. If you like this, please subscribe, and peace.